Ni-enchos niyo ako, ah. Okay, ayan maraming pumapasok ngayon. Wait lang ha, nababagalan yung Zoom sa paglo-loading ng mga bagay-bagay. Okay naman yung audio ko guys, no? Hindi naman ako mahina. Okay, so sige.
Opo, sir. Opo.
Oo, okay lang, wag niyo ako sigawan. Okay. So, before we start off, our first quarter lesson for this year will be about uh, the Earth will be about Earth science. So this is the branch of science which deals with the Earth itself, or this is the scientific study of the Earth. Okay, so it is Earth science. Okay, so basically we focus our attention on the fundamentals of the Earth. So bago tayo magsimula, let me ask you, what are the components of the Earth itself? Ano bang bumubuo sa Earth? Sige nga. You may unmute yourselves. Okay. Catrice Lim. Raise her hands. So si Catrice. Sige nga, Catrice.
The Earth is composed of its different layers such as the core and the mantle.
Okay. But, syempre, yung kwanta na yon. Pero, in generality, the Earth itself is composed of what? Yun lang ba nagko-compose sa Earth? Earth, mantle, ganon. In general, what is the Earth composed of? John Luigi, you're recognized.
Sir, land and water po, sir.
Okay, land and water. So, let us now focus first. Okay, anong tawag niyo dun sa land component ng Earth? Anong tawag niyo dun sa land component ng Earth? Okay, what do you call this land component of the Earth? In scientific terms, what do you call this land component of the Earth? So sabi ni John kanina is meron daw siyang land and water. So pag sinabi natin sa land muna tayo, okay? So anong tawag natin doon? Morning assembly reflection tayo ngayong araw na yun. may moment of reflection ba kayo ngayon? Sige nga. Okay. Who would like to answer? Land, water. Land and water lang ba? Land and water lang ba?
Sir, human life rin.
Human life. Land and water lang ba? Sabi niya, human life din daw. Kumukompose daw ng Earth daw. Ano pa? Sheila. Go, recognize. You recognize.
Sir, atmosphere po.
Ha?
Atmosphere po.
Okay, so atmosphere. So, sabi ni Sheila, atmosphere. Anong component yon? Yung atmosphere. Anong bumubuo sa atmosphere? Sheila, anong bumubuo sa atmosphere? Siya ba ay land?
Ano po?
Water? Ang atmosphere ay binubuo ng ano?
Oxygen, sir.
Oxygen po, sir.
Gas po.
Ha? Sino
Gases.
yung sumagot? Okay, Suzette. Okay, Suzette. Binubuo siya ng
Sir.
ano?
Oxygen and gases. Other gases.
Okay. So basically the atmosphere is composed of gases. So it's the gaseous state, the gaseous part of the Earth. So that's the atmosphere. So the atmosphere plays a very vital role that to preserve human life because it is serves as a protective blanket of the Earth, okay, dun sa mga paparating na heavenly bodies, okay, so sa mga asteroid na pumapasok and syempre sa mga solar flares para hindi masyadong mainit yung pagpasok ng sun sa atin. So it serves as a protective blanket of the Earth. Okay, so sabi sa atin kanina ni Seth, the atmosphere daw is the gaseous composition of the Earth. How about the water composition? Anong tawag niyo doon? Okay, Catrice. You recognize Catrice?
Sir, liquid composition po.
Okay, so what do you call this liquid composition? If the gaseous composition is fundamentally the atmosphere, how do you call or what do you call the liquid composition? Aisha May, you raise your hands or now recognize.
Sir, hydrosphere po.
The hydrosphere. So we have now the hydrosphere. So it has been said that the hydrosphere is a vital, or the water component of the earth is vital, such that this is where where the life originates. So kaya kung makikita ninyo, pag meron kayong mga nagpupunta sa ibang lugar, sa ibang planet, nakikita ninyo, ang una nilang hinahanap ay may tubig ba doon? Because life or water is a sign of life. So fundamentally, so it plays also a vital role in the human development, okay, yung ating hydrosphere. And the last one is, kung meron tayong water component, what about the land component? Catrice.
Sir, the lithosphere po.
The lithosphere. Okay, so that is the composition of the Earth. Okay, so we are composed of the atmosphere, okay, the hydrosphere, and of course the lithosphere. Let us now look into the geosphere. Okay, tingnan naman natin ngayon yung Earth itself. Okay, yung sa solid part ng Earth. Tingnan natin siya kung ano-ano yung bumubuo sa kanya by looking at this particular layers. Okay, so this is our first topic for the first topic for our first quarter, which will be the structures of the Earth. Sana hindi naglag yung laptop ko, no? Ouch! Naglag yung laptop ko. Kaka-stress. Okay, so let's continue. Kaka-stress ng laptop na to. Mukhang mapapalitan siya ng wala sa oras. Ay, ito gumano na siya. Natakot. Okay. So first, we look at now the structures of the Earth. Okay? So tingnan natin yung diagram. Can you see the diagram? Can you see the diagram?
Opo.
Okay.
Opo.
So
Yes,
our
po.
diagram. Okay. So our diagram fundamentally is showing to us the structure of the Earth. Okay, so you may notice that the structure or the Earth itself is composed of several layers. Okay, so let's look into this one. So the first layer of the Earth is the lithosphere. Okay, so is the crust. Okay, so the lithosphere is composed of the crust. Okay, that's the first layer. Kung titingnan ninyo in the diagram itself, okay, kung makikita ninyo, the crust is followed by the mantle. Okay? It's followed by the mantle and followed by the core. Okay? Let us now look into each of this particular component. So, the first one is the crust. Okay? The solid crust is the outermost and thinnest layer of our planet. Okay? The average crust is 40 kilometers. So, ibig sabihin, in terms of its thickness, okay, it's only 40 kilometers. Take note of that one. Okay? And is divided into 15 major tectonic plates. Guys, basically, the crust is not solid as it is. Hindi siya yung buong buo. Okay? So, the crust is actually is a segmented crust. Hindi siya solid na sphere. Siya ay may hati-hati or mayroon siyang mga breaks. Okay? So, may mga segments yan. These segments are known as tectonic plates. Okay? And our Earth is composed of 15 major tectonic plates. Yung 15 major tectonic plates na yan, guys, or class, is basically yan yung mga malalaki. Siyempre, meron din tinatawag tayong minor plates, okay? Or minor tectonic plates. Ito naman yung mga maliliit. Parang pag nagbasag kayo ng itlog na hard-boiled, okay? Parang pag nagbasag kayo ng hard-boiled egg, pag na-crack nyo siya, may makikita kayong malaking part ng pagkabasag, tapos meron naman kayong makikita maliit. Okay? Now, itong part na ito, yung pagkakahati-hati na yon o yung mga cracks dun sa mga in-between na yon, yun yung tinatawag natin na plate boundaries. Okay? Diyan sa mga plate boundaries na yan, dun sa mga cracks na yan, dun sa ating tectonic plates, okay? Diyan nangyayari yung most of the geologic activities, okay, among those plate boundaries, such as earthquake and volcanism. Pero we'll be going into that one later on, mas deeper doon. Okay? The boundary between the crust and the underlying mountain is termed as the Mohorovic discontinuity. Okay? So, often referred to as the Moho zone. Okay? So, yun yung ating term niyan. So, that's the Mohorovic discontinuity. Now, notice this one class. Okay? So, the question now is, Sir, bakit po magkakaroon ng layering yung structure ng Earth? Okay? Paano po nagkaroon ng layering na gano'n na merong crust, mantle, and core? This layering of the Earth is brought about by the great differentiation. Okay? Pag kayo ay magpupunta kung kayo may experience na into, ipaliwanag ko lang guys to ha. Okay? Kung meron na kayong experience sa pagpapakuha ng dugo o yung sa CBC, okay, pag kinunan kayo ng dugo, yung dugo ninyo inilalagay sa isang vial. Okay? Yung vial na yon, pag lalagay yun sa isang centrifuge machine, kung saan yung centrifuge machine, iikot siya ng iikot. Okay? Pag umikot siya ng umikot mga ilang minutes, paglabas niya, makikita na ninyo yun yung dugo ninyo, hindi na siya pure na dugo o hindi na siya yung kung ano yung nakuha sa inyo na pulang-pula. Pag nakita niyo siya, meron siya sa taas na water, meron siyang oil, meron siyang red blood cells, doon nila nakikita yon. Okay? Katulad rin yun ang nangyari sa Earth natin. That during that time na kung saan because of its continuous rotation, nagkaroon ngayon ng differentiation. This differentiation of the particles of the Earth led to this layering of the Earth. Okay? So dahil nga siya ay umiikot, para lang siyang pag naglagay kayo sa galon ng magkakaibang mga bato, okay? Yung pinakamabigat na bato, okay? Or yung may pinakamabigat na bato, siyang pinakang iilalim at yung pinakang magaan na bato, siya naman yung iibabaw. Okay? Pag kinalog-kalog nyo siya. So, nagkakaroon ng layering. That layering leads to this ang structure of our Earth today. Doon sa pag-ikot-ikot niya na gano'n. Okay? So, basically, it's the great differentiation that brought about this layering of the Earth. And basically, this differentiation have happened millions and millions of years ago. And of course, this is still on process. Okay, on process pa rin siya. Tuloy-tuloy siyang nangyayari. So, this layering of the earth or the process of the earth by which we will be dealing with is a continuous process at hindi siya yung nakaraan lang. Ibig sabihin, ngayon at hanggang ngayon, nag-a-apply pa rin yung ating mga part na yan. And we will be looking into those processes as we move on and how does these processes affect each and every one of us. Okay, so let's now look into this one. Now, the crust going into the mantle is not a continuous path. Okay? Hindi siya pagkatapos, halimbawa, ito yung crust, mantle agad. No, it's not like that. Okay? Pagkatapos ng crust, hindi agad mantle. There is a space that separates, okay, that separates the mantle from the crust. And this one is known as the Mohorovic discontinuity or the Moho zone. Okay, so the boundary that separates the crust to the mantle is known as the Mohorovic discontinuity or our Moho zone. Okay, and often referred to in layman's term as Moho. Okay, or Moho discontinuity. Okay, now After we cross the path that separates the mantle to the crust, we now proceed, or the mantle to the crust, we now proceed to the mantle itself. Okay? So the mantle, okay, now, pansinin nyo guys, sino ang mas makapal? In terms of its thickness, sino ang mas makapal? The crust or the mantle?
Mantle po.
Mantle
Okay,
po.
so Lloyd. Okay, so the mantle.
Mantle.
Mantle
If
po.
the crust is fundamentally a 40-kilometer thickness, you may notice that the mantle is 2,900 kilometers in terms of its thickness. So, ibig sabihin, mas makapal siya. Also, you may notice that the temperature now is going into a range of 500 to 90 degrees Celsius, which is not found in the crust. Fundamentally, the crust is a normal temperature na kung saan tayo ay nabubuhay. Okay? So it's a 500 to 900 degrees Celsius. This higher temperature of the mantle creates now a sub or partial melting of the rocks in between that one and the materials underneath the crust, creating a semi-solid rock or semi-solid material which are able now to flow. Having the characteristic of a fluid, these particular semi-solid particles were now able to flow. Creating convective currents inside the mantle. So nagkakaroon na ngayon dyan ng mga magma. Dahil nga mainit siya, yung mga materials na yan ay medyo natutunaw na. Now, notice this one class. The mantle is fundamentally composed of the silicate materials and the other one which is similar to found in the crust, except with more magnesium and iron and less silicon. Silicon kasi is mas nasa crust. Okay? So, mas marami daw siyang iron, magnesium, and less silicon and aluminum. Now, notice this one class. Magnesium and iron is heavier than silicon and aluminum. Okay, so magnesium and iron is heavier compared to silicon and aluminum. So kung makikita ninyo, as you go down, okay, kung pabagsak tayo ng pabagsak, kung habang bumibigat ang isang material, mas makikita mo siya sa ilalim. Okay? So that's the natural progression of things. Pag mas mabigat siya, basically siya ay lumulubog. Okay? At siya ang nasa pinakang ilalim. This weight is not actually defined by its weight, but defined by its density. Okay? So it depends on how compact the material is. So if the material is more compact than other, then therefore, the tendency is those material with a lesser density will float over the other which has a greater density. So yung mas compact ang pagkakagawa ng matter siyang nasa ilalim at syempre yung mas mababa, hindi yung ganun ka-compact siyang nasa taas. This has been discussed with you in terms of buoyancy by Archimedes when you are in grade 8. Okay, so mas pinakita sa atin ni Archimedes yung buoyancy na yon.